I was struggling with how to start tonight's event, and I thought that that's kind of an analogy for online digital marketing, really, isn't it? Where do you begin? In the world of where I come from, which is Anthill Magazine, we break our online marketing strategy into 4 words, 4 mantras: measurable, shareable, findable, and manageable. Now, we can talk through them tonight, and I'm sure we will. Have a think about them: measurable, shareable, findable, and manageable. But what's unfortunate about those 4 words is that they don't come in any particular order in the digital space. If you want to get them all right, if you want to get one of them right, you have to get the other 3. So have a think about that. James Tuckerman is my name, and unfortunately, I'm your MC for tonight. It's not Tim Burrowes. We did a scissors, paper, rock, and unfortunately, good old dependable rock is not always dependable. Paper beats rock. And so Tim gets to be an expert tonight rather than grilling the experts, and that's only fair enough considering his track record. Thank you. My background is from Anthill Magazine. For those who don't know Anthill Magazine, about 6 years ago, I left a career in public relations, and I quit my day job and I moved home with Mum and Dad to launch a print magazine that was to rival, in my mind, BRW. So that's what I did. I called up Mum and Dad and said, can I please move home and launch a print magazine that I think is going to one day rival BRW? And fortunately they said, yeah, how awesome. And every now and then I look back to that time and I think, what was guiding me at that particular time? And there was one of the strangest things that I remember saying again and again. People would say, why don't you produce your print magazine on the internet? And I would say, that's such a silly suggestion. My audience are business owners. They'll never go to the internet for information. 5 years down the track, how wrong was I? I should have had a guess. I should have been able to suspect that change was in the air when our first marketing campaign was actually an email marketing campaign where I took every contact in my personal business card collection, manually typed them into an Excel spreadsheet, sent out 2,000 emails to people who I'd met over the last 2 to 3 years, inviting them to subscribe to a print magazine that had never existed before, called Anthill of all things. And what I quickly discovered is of those 2,000, 1,200 bounced. They didn't exist anymore. But of those 800, 150 subscribed, which I think anyone would know who works in the digital marketing space that in terms of like an ROI, that is an enormous response rate to an email marketing campaign. I don't think email marketing campaigns deliver the same result these days. I don't know about you. So that was 5 years ago. Built a print magazine, progressively got involved in digital marketing, and then of course what happened about 18 months, 2 years ago is that the market turned quite drastically on most people in the media. And we talked about producing a digital community for some time before that, but of course we didn't need to, did we? Because of course we were doing pretty well as a print magazine, why would we bother? But when the market turned in 2008, we radically shifted our plans and we moved our direction and focus into the digital space. So if you'd asked me 18 months ago, I would have said Anthill Magazine is a print magazine with a website. If you ask me today, I will say Anthill Magazine is a digital media company with print capabilities. And what's interesting too is the way that the revenue model has shifted for us in that capacity as well too, which is probably something that we might talk about a little bit later. Now, who have we got here tonight? Put your hand up if you are a small business owner or you run your own small business, and generally you probably came from the Anthill email newsletter. Put your hand up if you work in media or marketing. So there you go, fellas. That's who we're dealing with. I like to pigeonhole things. It's particularly why I liked the Spice Girls. I don't mind admitting I like the Spice Girls. They were easy to remember. There was Baby Spice, Posh Spice, Scary Spice. So next to me we have our own set of Spice Girls, which I've categorised to make it easy to remember them. Now you've all read their bios on the website, but essentially we have analyst trendsetter Spice, which is Ross Dawson at the end. We have SME, owner and editor Tim Burrowes Spice. Well, actually, that's not right. Tim Burrowes, SME owner, editor Spice.
This is actually the worst back in the world. Do a routine in a minute.
Yeah, well, they're sitting on the stool and they do have a mic. It's kind of like the Backstreet Boys with one girl. We have Mick, advisor serial entrepreneur Spice, and we've had a last-minute replacement. Unfortunately, Kim couldn't make it. Her sister is very, very ill. But fortunately, we have Heather here who's been able to step in. So I'm going to get you to probably give a description of your background since it's not on the printed materials. But according to my notes, you're a digital strategist, Spice. However, you are not a social media consultant, Spice, because a social media consultant sounds like a snake oil salesman. I do wonder how many people in the audience right now are pulling out their business cards and pulling out the black felt tip pen. It goes to show how quickly things change in the digital marketing space. So why don't we start with Heather? Now your background I thought was quite interesting to the extent that...
James, what's the Twitter hashtag?
Oh, the Twitter hashtag. Mumhill. Okay, if you're into Twitter and you're using Twitter tonight and you want to talk about what's going on in this room and you want to talk to other people about what's going on in this room while we're talking, don't feel shy about opening up your Twitter account on your iPhone or BlackBerry, and when you post a comment, you can put in the word #Mumhill. #Mumhill, okay? We did this in Melbourne when we ran this in Melbourne, and we had the hashtag thing going on. And I looked at it later, and I'd said ROI, and then someone had written ROI skull. And I got quite offended because I thought, what's wrong with ROI? You know, is that a new age way of saying that a skull, ROI is a bad thing to say? Skull. But it turns out that the gentlemen who were hashtagging each other were actually playing a drinking game. And every time any of us used a 3-letter acronym, ROI, skull. The questions at the end were lively. So if you're into Twitter, #Mumhill. Heather, I thought that it would be interesting to hear from you, considering that as a strategist, you bridge advertising agencies and public relations agencies. And in my background, when I was working in public relations and then moving to the advertising side as in the sales of advertising, it seems that never the two shall meet, marketing and PR. I was wondering whether you might have any observations about how those two relate, and is it Toyota Yaris social media campaign that comes to mind?
I don't think so. Disclosure, I did work on the Yaris campaign for host/One Green Bean. So because it hasn't come to an end yet, it's still ongoing, I probably shouldn't talk about it. But that's not about saying that I'm going to talk about it. But the beautiful thing about social media is that it's pissed a lot of people off. People in advertising, people in PR agencies, and what I've found is their clients are all saying, what is going on with this social media thing? And everybody thinks they should do it. And a lot of clients are giving social media briefs to either a PR agency or a digital agency or a traditional marketing agency and not having their other agencies across it, which really creates kind of a nightmare for everyone involved.
I'm trying to think, what seems to, I mean, like, is it just me, or do large companies seem completely terrified of social media?
Yes.
I think that they might be.